It's really remarkable how I've basically lived the life I have lived and learned many invaluable life lessons that people don't understand if I were to speak them, because they haven't experienced the same thing, and they have no reference point to it, so it just seems like words, just words. It's like, okay, you learned something wise, so to speak, but actually I learned something wise, and that gives me an advantage in life over you because I had to go through so much to receive that knowledge. And most men get such knowledge, if they're lucky, at the end of their years on their deathbeds. And I received it hell of a lot younger, fucking when I'm in my 20s. And I am fucking grateful for that. But other people won't appreciate it. They're like, okay, yeah, whatever. You received something wise. And it's like, do you understand knowledge is power, and that knowledge, I mean, they even want to, that's why all these companies are like making, you can only read like however so many fucking articles, and then they make you pay for a subscription because they don't want, they're getting, because they have knowledge in those things, and they don't want you to know about them. They want you to have to pay for knowledge, which actually makes sense because knowledge is fucking very valuable, but at the same time knowledge is priceless. So I've learned a lot of fucking shit in my life about everything, and I can help lots of people with this knowledge. And I can also use it for self aggrandizement purposes, self beneficial purposes, if I wish. I can do both. I've learned that going your own way, not in the men going their own way kind of fucking way. I mean, truly going your own fucking way, dude, where you don't have a fucking community or a group where you feel like you belong. And even if you do belong to a community or group, you still feel like a fucking alien, like an outsider. To truly be that kind of man, the rugged individualism which has defined my entire life, you build resilience and character, and it makes your mind and soul and spirit impenetrable. Nothing can bring you down, even if you say things like, oh yeah, that would bring me down. I don't know if I could handle that. It's like, you're just being dramatic. You can handle fucking anything, dude. You know that. If all your siblings and family members were to die, that would suck, but you'd be able to handle that. You're fucking iron. You are gold. You are an invaluable treasure. And you were made this way by being a diamond in the rough, by being a dandy in the ghetto, by being something that was melted and put upon a sacrificial altar and heated and burned like metal. And you were tested by the fires of sorrow and pain and suffering and all these things, and all those things made you what you are, and what you are is invaluable. It's priceless. Doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account, because you have internal wealth, and that's what really matters. Because if you want external wealth, you must have first internal wealth, and you have internal wealth because you've had no choice but to have internal wealth, peace, tranquility of the soul and spirit. And that's how you're able to deal with fucking shit that other people couldn't deal with. I mean, you realize, dude, you really chose some fucking crazy shit for yourself on purpose, just for the name of self-discipline. I mean, what fucking psycho does that? Seriously. That's fucking crazy. I mean, it's commendable in many regards, but it's fucking crazy that you will and consciously chose, because people go to jail unconsciously. It's because they made a mistake and they had lack of foresight and they ended up going to jail. But no, not me. Not me. I consciously chose. I made a choice. Because most of human behavior exists in the unconscious mind, and everything people do is unconscious. Most of it. That's why they operate on autopilot every day. But it's like with me, I chose to fucking make a choice that I knew was gonna be fucking grueling, and to fucking stick with that, dude. In the name of self-discipline. Then self-discipline must mean quite many things to you. Self-discipline must be very important to you. And the question is why? Okay, so self-discipline is very important to you. What are you going to do with that self-discipline that you acquired? And the answer to that question is, I really, ever since I was 14, when I was 14, I had this weird sensation that I was destined for fucking greatness. Destined for greatness. And the only way that I was going to be able to achieve that, be able to deal with that, is if I learned how to be truly in mastery of myself and self discipline to the fullest extent. Because if you're truly destined for greatness, then you have to have discipline. And if you have no discipline, how will you be able to handle such a life of greatness? Because do you think a life of greatness is easy? No. With power comes responsibility, and the more successful you become, and the more you self-actualize yourself in life, the more difficult life's going to be. So people think they want a lot of success, and they think that'll be the end of all their problems. No, it'll be the start of all their problems, because that's what success is, and people have the wrong ideas about it, and that's why they don't deserve those things, because they don't know that. And if they did, they would be like me and know that it's a fucking responsibility, and it requires an extreme sense of discipline in order to live that life perfectly as you are called to live it. So that's why I want self discipline, or that's why I wanted self discipline. That's why it was so important to me that I even put myself in jail and made myself suffer, just to prove that mind over matter at the end of the day, that the power of the mind trumps all. Doesn't matter how much money you have in your fucking bank accounts, because that person could lose that money easily. And then what happens when they lose that money? Do they know how to regain that money? If they truly have mastered the principles of that life, then they would have said yes to that question. But if they can't answer yes to that question, then what the fuck good was that money at all? Seriously. What good is money at all if not for the mind being able to get the money in the first place? The mind being able to get something very difficult in the first place is the condition of which the money itself retains its value. Because the mind being able to get it is very difficult, and it's a challenge. And to do that, to get the money and get all that money, get all that fame, get all that success, is very difficult. So it's a challenge of the mind. The money itself is nothing. The money itself is just a symbol of fucking other things. But when you realize certain things, because you put yourself in certain situations where you had to realize certain things, you realize how much of an edge you have over everybody else, because they didn't fucking choose what I chose. And I chose what I chose in very counterintuitive ways, but ultimately for self actualization purposes. But always remember to never get stuck in survival based modes of consciousness, because that's limiting to yourself and your potential. Because to truly live is to truly live, and most people can't taste life. They suffer in vain, and they never taste the beauty and the sweet fruit of life because they're in a state of hardly existing, because they don't put themselves in situations where it requires you to live. You either live or you die in every situation, and most people are aging and getting dead slowly but surely. And every day is a battle because every day is a battle of life and death. And you either give into life or you give into death.